Hello, beautiful people! We are mother freaking back with the vlog. I hope you're having a fantastic week. I hope you're holding your shit together. And I just hope that your heart is filled with love, and maybe you can just take a deep breath and send yourself some love and gratitude for being alive today. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope that you're reaching all your dreams and goals. I'm Hazel Rose. I like to make music. I have some new music coming for you guys soon. And we also like to talk about topics. And today we have a very interesting topic and a very interesting guest that I'm so excited to bring on. She is the owner of the sex toy company, Tinder Lotus. And she is not only a sex positive, sex empowerment entrepreneur, but she's an amazing Latina speaker and activist for many sexual topics. And stay tuned till the end because we're doing an amazing giveaway. We're giving away some sex toys, motherfucker! So if you guys can please welcome and send her all of your love, B from Tinder Lotus!
Hello, thank you for having me.
And she's a Libra, y'all, so you know she's harmonious, she's balanced, she's radiant. Selling her amazing toys that we're gonna take a look at it.
This one too.
So can you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your journey into becoming a sex toy social entrepreneur? It's so amazing.
Yes, so I originally started Tinder Lotus in 2016. It was something fun for me to do, a little side hustle, selling toys online. It was fun. I was at a point in transformation in my life, going through a lot of things from my past, healing, especially around sex. And I came to realize, like, sex is fun, toys are fun and all, but we can't talk about the positive and fun side of sex without also talking about the dark side or the negative experiences. So now my sex toy company, it's still sex toys, but it's dedicated to women who have gone through traumatic experiences around sex. And within that, I'm also a speaker and activist, and I share my story of overcoming trauma around sex, from being molested to being assaulted to having an abortion to contracting herpes to being stalked. All of these things had an impact on my sexuality. When I went through these things, I became very reserved. I didn't want to have sex. The last thing on my mind was to have sex. So with Tinder Lotus, we acknowledge the pain that women have gone through, because most women have gone through something negative around sex, and it affects us whether we want to believe it or not. It really does. It affects our relationships with others. It affects it with ourselves. I feel like that's what makes my company different, because we acknowledge it and we're like, hey, we see what you've gone through. We feel your pain, but you deserve this. You deserve pleasure. You deserve to have fun around your sexuality. So I'm super passionate.
It's honestly so brave of you to tell your story, and you're validating people's stories. So thank you.
Make me cry.
So yeah, you mentioned that everyone deserves these little babies. So how do you think that sex toys can actually be used to help empower people?
I like to consider toys as a physical tool to help you become in tune with your body and the pleasure, especially when you've gone through trauma. It's a mental journey. It's an emotional journey that we have to embrace, so we have felt. And with these toys, it's also staying present and being aware. Like, you have sensations down there or up here or anywhere that are pleasurable, and it's okay to feel those things. You don't need to be ashamed. In our culture here in the US, we've been conditioned to see sex as negative, sex as wrong, and a lot of it has to do, especially me, growing up in a hardcore Christian fundamentalist upbringing. I was taught to have a lot of shame around sex. So when I went through these things around sex, I thought I was dirty. I thought I was a whore. I was a slut. I was wrong. No one was going to love me. I wasn't worthy. It really eroded at my self-esteem, my self-confidence, my self-image. And in that, I had very poor relationships with men. I had poor relationships with anybody, really. It didn't even have to do with sex, because of the way that I perceive myself. It's like just really learning to navigate what you feel, with your bodily sensations and using this. It may trigger things, because it definitely has for me, but it's learning to be with what you're feeling and knowing that you're not those emotions, you're not that fear, you're not that anxiety when something comes up. You're a lot bigger than that. You're a lot more powerful than that. And then boom, you nut. It's pretty amazing.
Oh!
It's like orgasmic experience.
Oh, it's so amazing. And again, like, yeah, removing that stigma and talking about this stuff is so beautiful. How would you like to see culture shift in terms of how our society views sex? Like, how can we get rid of some of this stigma, and like, what are some of the harmful effects?
Lack of talking about sex is what perpetuates the stigma. People live in shame. So sharing for me is super important. That's why I'm so open about these things. And you said it's very brave of me, but I want to live in a culture where I don't have to be brave for talking about these things. I just want it to be normal discourse, because most of us, there are exceptions, but most of us have sex. We're sexual beings, and it's okay to talk about it. I mean, it's the whole reason we exist, because whether you like to think about it or not, our parents had sex for us to get here. So it's like, how can we not talk about it? I think, this is my theory, I'm a sociology major, maybe that's where it comes from. I think that the reason we have so many deviances in our culture, like with assault, with rape, with pedophilia, things that we don't like, super dark stuff around sex, incest, is because we don't talk about sex. If we bottle it up, it's not going to go away. What you resist persists. So when people try to express it and they've been so suppressed, it can come, not for everybody, but it can come out in abnormal ways. If you were to normalize it, I think we wouldn't have these issues, because it would be out in the open. When you bring things to light, everything is exposed. You can't hide anything, and there's just such a huge power in that, and a huge transformation.
I was mentioning this to you, and I had an experience. I was getting triggered from a past relationship, and I was going to kind of project that trigger onto like the current person that I'm with. But I was able to communicate, okay, my body's going through this, it's because of a past situation, and I don't want to like blame it on you and project it onto this situation. And they were really responsive and listened, but we were able to just like acknowledge what had happened and then move on together, which is really sweet.
And that's really powerful what you said, like you're in tune with what you're feeling, you're aware. I'm single, and I know that when I get into a relationship, I'm going to have triggers, and that it's okay to have those triggers. It doesn't mean that you're not healed. It's just part of being human. It's gonna come up, but it's being able to sit with it. As I mentioned, like when you have a toy and you've gone through something traumatic, you're gonna feel those triggers, you're gonna feel that anxiety in your body, but you just sit with it. You sit with it and you be with it, and eventually it's gonna transform and it's gonna diminish, and then one day you're just not gonna have it anymore. There's a lot of power that we have, and people, we don't credit ourselves for having the power to heal in whatever we've gone through. We're powerful beings. So
yes. Well, I feel like you're bringing a vibe of healing to everyone that's watching this.
Aww,
and we hope for everyone's healing, because it's a process. Oh, and also I know that you're also a herpes awareness activist, which is really cool. Do you want to speak on that a little bit?
Yeah, so I am a HANDS member. The acronym stands for Herpes Activist Networking to Dismantle Stigma. So what we do, our mission is to shatter the stigma around herpes, because it's one of the most common, I don't even want to call it sexually transmitted infection. It's one of the most common viruses that human beings get, because you don't even have to have sex to contract it. But I contracted it sexually, which is why the stigma is so big, because you can contract it sexually and then it goes to the stigma of sex. It's all connected. But we bring awareness, and we want to educate society. It's nothing to be ashamed of. According to statistics, the Centers for Disease and Control, about 80% of people in the world have a form of herpes, and most people who have it don't have symptoms. So it's just crazy. It's all in here. It's a stigma that started in the late 70s, early 80s. And there's been conspiracies that it started through a pharmaceutical company that wanted to make money selling these antiviral drugs and making it sound like it's something only promiscuous people get. And if you get it, your life is over. I've heard stories where people actually wanted to commit suicide. Even on forums, you can read online, it's like the end of the world when you find out that you have it. For me, I lived in a lot of shame because of it. I was like, this isn't supposed to happen to me. And again, with the stigma, I contracted it from an individual who didn't share with me. And to me, that's super huge, because when you have a stigma around something, you don't talk about it, and then it affects your relationships. And it definitely affected ours. I wasn't given a choice. And there's a huge importance in bringing awareness around STIs. We have to talk about these things in our relationships, in society at large, which is why I'm so open about it. I gotten over the fear of what people are going to think of me, because I can care less. We are not the things that we've gone through in life. A lot of things we don't have control over. A lot of things maybe we do, we just don't know better, because we're not educated on it. So that's, as a HANS member, that's what we do. We bring education and we bring awareness to shatter the stigma. Yes.
Yes. Thank you so much for sharing that. Really, really appreciate all the work that you do. So, speaking of these sexy little toys, I'm curious, for people that haven't really gotten kinky before, or haven't like explored toys and stuff like that, what do you think is a good introductory toy for them from Tinder Lotus?
A great way to tap into your kinkiness, or just explore your sexuality in general.
It's just a lipstick, right?
Yes. Plain red old lipstick.
Okay.
It's a single speed. It has, I don't know if you can see it, it has an on, off, and open switch. It has vibrator. Yes, it's vibrator. It's splash proof. I have one sitting in my shower right now. It's external, and it can be used for both genders, in the clitoris and the anal area. I mean, wherever you need the titillation, this is it. And these are $5. So get yours online at my website, tinderlotus.com. But yes, this is a great way for women who have had sexual trauma, like with assault or rape. I don't have any thin products, because I think that would be a great tool. But I would suggest, if you want to purchase it elsewhere, by all means. But this is more for external. I think this is a great way to stimulate and get started on the outside, and then you work your way, and it's a process.
I love it. So I want to know more about your products, because we're going to unpack this dope ass kit. I kind of want to take a look at all these little products. I've only used like half the products so far, and it was really fun. So can we like unpack it and take a look?
Yes, ma'am. I call it the starter bondage kit.
Okay.
I have them on sale right now. If you enter a discount code on my website, self-love, you'll get 50% off. It'll be $10 for 8 products. It has a total of 8 items.
Y'all, this shit is worth like $50 or more dollars, and you're getting it for 10.
So this is a rope. It's a bondage rope. It's about 12 feet. So you can do some rope play with it.
It's kind of soft too.
It is. It is. And this is actually made out of pleather, by the way. So it's vegan. This is a eye mask.
It kind of frees up what you're doing, because you don't have to worry about like what it looks like. So it's all about the sensation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it doesn't come with headphones, but I highly recommend wear the blindfold and have some headphones on with like some really sexy music, and then your partner can do whatever they want. It's a pretty mind-blowing experience.
You may want to throw some massage oil in while this is happening.
Oh yes, candles. And I do have candles, but coochie candles are coming up, so stay tuned for that. That's nipple clamps. Oh look, and it matches your butt. It's super cute. Yeah, this is super kinky.
No more advanced.
Yeah, it's a gag ball. So use this with caution.
And trust the people that you're with, please.
Exactly. For all of this, trust the people that you're with. Definitely.
How can you know? How can you know that you've established that trust, do you think?
I think intuition really tells all. Yeah. I don't know about timing. I think it really depends on the individual, because there's some people that you like connect immediately. There's people it takes months, it takes years to connect. But I really think it's your intuition is the second brain, as they call it, your gut. There's actually science around that your gut is like pretty accurate. You don't have to use them all at the same time, or if you're feeling adventurous, you can. It's up to you. And I actually use these pieces individually, or maybe like 2 at a time. And this is really kinky too. This is to a leash. I say you can even use it as like a necklace too. Totally. See, it's all fashion. It's also fashion.
Fashion. Let me go walk, please.
Yes, ma'am. Let's go.
Oh, let's go.
actually had a customer who was like, oh my God, I'm gonna use these as bracelets. These are handcuffs.
Yeah, they're really cute.
Yeah, and they're super duper cute. I definitely use these. These are fun. Yeah. And last but not least, we have a flogger. If you're into that. So all of this for 10 bucks. I mean, you can't beat it. And it's a great way to explore. And I know with sexual trauma, this might be a little far-fetched because it's kinky. Because I thought about that too. I'm like, dang, B, like, I must have really healed. I must have really empowered because I really want to like explore this stuff. But I think that's what happens when you come to realize that you're not what you've gone through and you're in a beautiful relationship or you just have an amazing connection and you have that trust as well. It makes you want to explore because sex should be fun. Sex should be fulfilling. It can even be a spiritual experience. So this is definitely a way to explore that part of you, no matter what you've gone through, because you deserve it. So
I know you watched this and now you were like salivating to have one. So guess what? You can. It can be yours. So what are we? So we're giving away all of these products.
Everything.
Right?
Everything.
Damn. So all you have to do is be subscribed to my YouTube channel, which, as you guys know, is just Hazel Rose. Very easy. And subscribe
to my Instagram, which is at Tinder Lotus.
Yeah, and then leave us a comment tagging a friend on either the YouTube video or on Instagram. And we will announce the winner soon, and you're gonna get that little special package in the mail. And trust me, you are gonna love it. By the way, I'm curious, how'd you come up with the name Tinder Lotus?
So you can probably see it bigger here. It's a lotus flower, but it also looks like a devil. And it looks like a woman's clitoris. So there's 3 ways you can view it. Tinder is to incite. It has nothing to do with a dating app. It's to incite something. A woman's vagina back in the day, like in the early 1900s, used to be called a tinderbox. So for those of you that are familiar with Buddhism and Hinduism, that the lotus flower is a symbolism of awakening. And the lotus flower, it grows beautifully out of mud. So it symbolizes a woman's sexual awakening. In her negative experiences, she can rise above what she's gone through and become this beautiful, sexual, powerful being. So the devil part is for those of us who have grown up, especially in Latino culture. A lot of us are growing up in religion, and it's my way of rebelling. So, yeah.
Okay, so I don't know if you know about this is about me. I'm a foodie, yes indeed, and also I'm obsessed with sauce. Every meal of mine, it needs to have trickles and gallons of sauce on it. Oh God, it's mouth-watering me. Like, I love it so much. So what's your favorite sauce?
I love mustard. I hate mayo, love mustard.
Why do you love mustard so much?
Because it's just good. It's just salty and just
kind of like
vinegary and it's good for you. I heard it like speeds up your metabolism if you take like a spoonful of mustard.
Yeah. Well, I have a surprise for you. I made you a mustard and avocado toast.
Ooh. That is good. And this mustard has like a kick to it.
It's spicy.
Spicy. This is really good. Thank you. I'm looking all of it.
Of course! I love watching people eat good food. That's the only thing I miss about being in the food service industry. Seeing their eyes light up.
You're gonna eat with me?
I'll eat.
Thanks for watching Hazel's vlog. Let us know. Leave us a comment below if you want the bondage kit or the incognito lipstick vibrator. Thanks for watching. Bye. Sorry, did I hurt you?
Hey guys, thank you for watching. It's me, Hazel Rose. Thank you so much for being a part of this and watching that vlog that you just watched. Was it good? Did it suck? Let me know. Tell yourself you love yourself, hug a friend, freaking change the world because this world is fucked. And we need you.